Hello and welcome to the AnonyNews. This week's main topics are: win after win, New York Times and others take on Scientology, ABC's Four Corners, ex-Sea Org members speak out, and new blog, Hot Guys with Guy Fawkes masks is now online. The United States is having an epic week of win. First up, a New York Times front page article entitled Breaking with Scientology exposes Scientology abuses featuring Christy and Chris Colbrand, Marty Rathbun, Mike Rinder, and the one and only Tommy Davis. In it, the practices of disconnection and forced abortions, the RPF, staff abuse in the Sea Org, and the billion-year contract are all discussed. This seems to have set off a chain reaction of epicness, with discussions on Scientology from ABC Radio, NBC, and AOL News, to Time magazine deciding to repost their Cult of Greed and Power article on their website to remind us that they were the OP. Truly, this is the beginning of the end. The Australian Herald Sun writes, several Australians have spoken out for the first time about their experiences with the church, accusing it of forced abortions, holding slave labour camps, and exploiting child workers. Former rugby league player Joe Reaiche told ABC's Four Corners programme that he was coerced into spending $400,000 on spiritual books and being paid just $20 a week as an employee. He also accused the organisation, which counts Tom Cruise and John Travolta among its members, of preventing contact between him and his children after his expulsion in 2005. Following the New York Times report on Christy Colbrand's experiences in Scientology, the Today Show with Matt Lauer had Christy on for an exclusive interview. Prior to her interview, there was a segment describing Scientology's policies of forced abortions, even referring to their practices as mind control. Epic win. Last Monday, ABC broadcasted a great documentary on Scientology, the Sea Org, and the RPF. In it, ex-Scientologists and ex-Sea Org members tell their story on how they became Scientologists, what they experienced in the cult, and how they escaped them. Tommy Davis tries his best to make Scientology look good in an interview, but only makes them look more ridiculous and or dangerous. The documentary features Joe Reaiche, James Liz and Fiona Anderson, Claire and Mark Headley, Lloyd de Crescenzo, Hannah Eltringham-Whitfield, and Petter O'Brien. To view this, visit the ABC website or watch it on YouTube. After attending the anti-cult conference in Australia last week, Senator Xenophon now calls to picket in front of the Australian Parliament on Wednesday and Thursday this week. On the website of ABC News, he is quoted, "I think if we can get a group of people out the front of Parliament House and actually eyeball the politicians and knock on their doors on Wednesday and Thursday, it would be pretty powerful." Watching discussed as one of Scientology's clueless volunteer ministers in Haiti, a young girl named Ellen Bennett boasts about stealing water-filled bags from a radiology room to distribute as drinking water. While the water itself was not irradiated, when she removed the bags, she stole vital equipment from a hospital, and in case these bags were used as a radiation shield, as it is rumoured on the internet, she made the radiology unusable. Wise Beardman says on his blog Xeno TV the bags could also have been other vital supplies. Stopped in at the urgent care facility across the street during my mid-shift lunch break, and since things were slow, the radiologists were willing to chat with me. It's more likely, due to damage to normal storage areas, the room was being used to store lactated Ringer's solution, which is used for large volume fluid replacement in trauma emergencies, or possible D5W, a 5% dextrose solution in water used for people with low blood sugar or high sodium levels. It was Ringer's drinking that it shouldn't hurt anyone, but the lack of it during an emergency trauma situation would definitely be a problem. She is of the opinion that anybody taking hospital supplies without permission in an emergency situation, no matter how helpful they think they are being, should be tossed in jail and the key thrown away, no matter what was in the bags. Professor Patrick McGorry, a world-renowned mental health expert who was recently named Australian of the Year, has come out against Scientology, siding with Senator Nick Xenophon in requesting a Senate inquiry into the cult of Scientology. Good on you, Professor. Battlefield Earth awarded Worst Movie of the Decade. Now it's official. At the 30th Annual Golden Raspberry Awards, Battlefield Earth has won 8 out of 10 Razzies, including 1 for Worst Drama. After the New York Times article, AOL News also published an article about the recent situation of the cult of Scientology. The interesting part in this article are the numbers. It says on the AOL News page, according to the American Religious Identification Survey, 45,000 Americans identified themselves as Scientologists in 1990, and 55,000 did in 2001. But in 2008, that number plummeted to 25,000. It's well short of the millions of followers Scientology leaders claim, both in the United States and abroad, where the church often is not officially recognised alongside other religions. And, if that trend continues, Scientology isn't likely to survive many of our lifetimes, let alone the billions of years the church promises in its immortal adherents.
Wise leaks. An Xbox huge amount of Wise instructional documents, contract samples and handbooks have been leaked this week. First examinations of the instructions and manuals by the news team show that Hubbard's administrative know-how tech is no magic. Lots of documents cover crude basics of project management and process optimization in step-by-step orders for dummies, all encrypted in Cylon lingo. It needs 10 pages Cylon speak to reach the point. For example, when overworked, you work too much. Work less. More interesting are the documents on wise royalty payments or the legal advice on how to avoid lawsuits by employees, also included in the package.
Church of Scientology in the UK instructed to withdraw flyer. The Advertising Standards Authority has responded to a complaint about the content of one of Scientology's handouts, especially regarding stress tests being available only for a limited time. The ASA has instructed Scientology to remove this claim. If you see any leaflets still claiming this, be sure to inform the ASA immediately. Youth for Human Rights representative meets with dead senator. In an astonishing demonstration of Scientology abilities, a recent press release revealed that members are able to contact the dead. Spurred by concerns of youth violence in Boston, Youth for Human Rights representative Kelly Riley reportedly met with Senator Ted Kennedy's office. A recent press release claims that Mr. Riley and Kennedy's office had a lengthy discussion about implementing the Scientology Front Group's lesson plans into Boston and other Massachusetts schools. The problem is, Senator Kennedy's office is now located at Arlington National Cemetery, where the senator has resided since dying of brain cancer in 2009. Actor Jason Lee is out ethics for the gays. Scientologist Jason Lee was supporting low-tone homosexuals in their civil rights this week at Manifest Equality, which brings together GLBT artists in support of equal rights. We wonder if he knows about Scientology's views on homosexuals. Has he been shielded from such knowledge? Or is he headed to celebrity RPF? Tommy Davis 2 years of failed compilation video. It has been 2 very long years for the cult. When the shit hits the fan, the hero of Anonymous, Tommy Davis, was there to make it even worse. This thread on WWP is about making a video to commemorate the huge amount of fail Tommy Davis has brought to the table. A compilation video detailing his contradictions, lies, foot bullets, and mad raving from the last 2 years. If you want to help with this idea, check out the thread. Kids in the California Central Coast are getting Narconon education on drugs, says press release found on Hood NLA by Narconon Vista Bay. Quote, ongoing partnerships were formed with the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Department, the Santa Cruz County Meth Project, and Pajaro Valley Unified School District, and Narconon kicked off by delivering drug education seminars to approximately 1,000 school children in a 3-day period. It is continuing with invitations being made to all local schools in the area to have drug education a part of their student experience. If this should be true, Anonymous recommends to explain the true nature of this front group of Scientology to the Sheriff's Department and the meth projects and the school district. Right to Live organizations upset over Scientology's coerced abortions. Several Christian websites took on the coerced abortion tag within the Sea Org this week. Articles found on the Illinois Right to Live blog, as well on LifeSite News, Catholic Exchange, and the Christian Portal, called the Scientology policy a horrifying form of abuse that goes on very prevalently. CCHR at the Liberal Democrats' Spring Conference in Birmingham, UK. This week it was revealed that the CCHR were due to have a stand at the Liberal Democrats' Spring Conference in Birmingham, UK. Anonymous responded to this news immediately, sending harpoons to local representatives of the party as well as various media organizations. The results? A few days later, an email was received from the conference team stating that the CCHR will no longer have an exhibit.